NBA Live before lock, Game 4 edition, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, October 6th. I don't know the days of the week anymore. They're all the same thing. I'm Josh Engleman. We have unfortunately downgraded considerably. No impact tonight, but we do have Adam, so sorry, everybody. And we are brought to you by No House Advantage. That is also a positive thing for today. Adam, what's going on?
Not much. I guess kind of nice that this won't be a closeout game and we'll get at least one more game of basketball. Nice that, Bam's back. Maybe we'll get another competitive game, so something to look forward to.
Is my audio weird to you?
No.
Chat's losing their mind, saying that my audio sounds like T-Pain.
Sounds like what?
T-Pain.
That's what I thought you said.
Everybody's going crazy. It's fine to you, though. Like,
it sounds completely normal to me.
Well, let's try to figure it out. I have no idea what the issue could be. Chat seems to be pretty mad about it, though. I've never seen chat go more and more ridiculous than they are right now. I don't know what to do for them. They're losing their minds. I mean, I've never seen chat go this crazy.
Yeah, it sounds completely normal to me.
Okay, so I assume I'm getting really bad. Audio is trash. Josh sounds like he's underwater. Okay, let's figure this out. I have no idea. Let's see if I can switch to my AirPods and see how much worse that gets. I guess. Bear with us. You talk to the public.
I was using the time to finish getting that one lineup in that I said I was going to play. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. It sounds completely normal to me. Like even before the show, you sounded normal.
I don't even know how to test this out. Do I sound different to you now?
Yeah, now you sound really weird. Like kind of underwater, kind of like you don't have an internet connection.
Okay, so that's what everybody else was just saying. So,
like I can only hear like every fourth word you're saying now.
How about now, you and chat?
Normal to me.
Okay. I mean, people are going nuts. Perfect. Good. I don't know what happened, but we're back. Sorry about that, everybody. I mean, of all the people to have audio issues, it's pretty much never me.
Yeah.
So
I think that was the first, at least on shows I've been on.
My apologies, everybody. Sounds like a perfect opportunity to reward me by hitting the like button and unhitting the unlike button, since you guys probably were incredibly angry about everything that just happened. We didn't hear it, so it was impossible for us to know that. Our bad. We love you guys. Thank you for bearing with us. Now, let us dive in for Game 4. I'm getting the message. I'm getting just legitimately roasted clear across the board. This is fantastic. At least my takes can't get any worse than the audio.
Did they say that, or are you saying that?
It
sounds like something they would have said.
I'm saying that right now.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We kind of know what's going on, but we do have some news to touch on right out of the gate. Bam Adebayo is playing. As best I know, we don't have news on him in terms of playing. Like I know he's in. We don't know anything about a minutes limit. I'm treating him essentially like he's good to go. Knocking his minutes back, like I'm not giving him 38. I think I'm giving him 34. But otherwise, I'm going to treat it like business as usual. Goran Dragic is out. I wanted him to be in because I didn't think that he could make it through a full game. Unfortunately, we got that news a little early. So let's just go and take a lap through the Miami Heat to start. What do you think of Bam Adebayo today making his return after injury?
So while you were having issues with your audio, I was able to finish up the crunch that I was working on, and apparently I like his ownership because he's showing up in a lot of lineups for me on DraftKings, and it's not because I have a super high projection on him, because I'm right there with you as far as expecting 35, 36 minutes. It is a pain tolerance thing. He said his range of motion is normal. He said that it's just a matter of playing through pain. So I don't expect him to be intentionally capped, whether it acts up if he plays less than maybe. But right now we have him projected for 29% ownership on DraftKings, about 4% captain ownership. In the crunch I just ran, I'm getting to like 55% flex ownership, only 2% captain. But seems like a good differentiation play. Not really necessary with DraftKings pricing because the pricing is incredibly soft today, but a spot where you going three of LeBron, Davis, Butler, Bam, and having one of the three be Bam is, I think, a high upside way to differentiate.
I have about 35% right now, just a hair north of where we have the public. I'm comfortable with that, I guess. I think it's really interesting to think that he is only $200 cheaper than Jimmy Butler. That feels wildly incorrect. But
Oh yeah, without question. Like
then again, so are all of
minutes,
the other prices.
right? It's just really weird, and you kind of have to, I think of Bam in terms of what you're trying to accomplish in a tournament because he's not optimal.
No.
I don't really see any argument for how he would be. But when you think about the other players in this game, like there's such a drastic split between LeBron, Butler, Davis, and then like every other player other than Bam in terms of what you can reasonably expect them to do. Bam at least does give you that upside where he can beat Butler. It's not particularly likely, but he can.
Yeah.
But Butler can have a pretty good game, and Bam can still beat him. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like Duncan Robinson, if Butler has a normal game, Duncan Robinson's not beating him. Jay Crowder's not beating him. Tyler Hero, occasionally will, but not that often. Like Bam's the one guy out there that can actually put up like a top three score without one of the main three guys having an absolutely awful game. So I think he is appealing in that regard, just because it's going to be so hard to differentiate on this slate with DraftKings pricing without just doing crazy stuff that you just really don't want to do. I think Bam is a kind of appealing way to do it.
Yeah, like right now we have LeBron James in 92% of lineups on DraftKings, AD in 81, Jimmy Butler in 85. After that, everybody drops down to like the 30s. It's really hard to get a different construction. I like the idea of paying up a little bit more for Bam. Like I said, I'm slightly north of the field as of right now, and I'm cool with it. Let's slide over to some of the guys that have been benefiting now that or when Bam and Dragic were out. That would be Kelly Olynyk now, 3,200. Does he still see the floor? Previously, when Bam was healthy, Kelly Olynyk was a DNP CD. Do you think he plays now because of how he's been playing?
It's my assumption. I don't think it's set in stone, but because he has played he has played reasonably well, and also they were bringing him off the bench when Bam was out, so it's not like they were just saying we want you to match up with Dwight Howard, and then now it's going to be Bam out there when Howard's out there, and Olynyk doesn't have a role. I think that because he can stay in basically the same role just with fewer minutes. Like obviously Bam will sub back in, whereas Myers Leonard's not, but he can still play that role off the bench against the same guys that he was playing against and having success against. I don't really know why they would change it, especially when switching it up just means you're giving more minutes to Solomon Hill or Jones or whoever. I think it's really likely. I think that Hero is the backup, or not Hero. Olynyk is the backup center.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get very far if Tyler Hero has to guard Dwight Howard and AD in the post, but I could be wrong. Now I gave Kelly Olynyk like 12 to 14 minutes, something in that neighborhood. The non-Bam center minutes. I think given the way that he was playing, that seems like a reasonable thing to do. Does that make you like him at all? We currently have him at 15% ownership on DraftKings, And then on FanDuel, where he's 10K, he is fully unplayable.
Seems pretty much to be owned where I think he should be. He showed up in 11% of my top 150 in the crunch I just did. Ownership projection on him is at about 15%. So seems to be coming in, I think, about where he should.
Okay. Anything else catching your eye from the Heat? Like, do you have any interest in going to any of the Solomon Hill, Derek Jones type flyers for any roster construction, or are you expecting a more concentrated rotation from the Heat today?
I'm expecting a more concentrated rotation since you do have minutes now, obviously going to Bam. You certainly can still, it's a showdown slate. You can still make a case for taking shots at like a 1K Solomon Hill, hope he plays like 8 minutes or something and just gets a couple steals and a three or something like that. But it doesn't seem necessary, especially with how soft the pricing is. Again, it would just be like he's showing up in a little bit of lineup for me, just because he's going to be really low owned, and that's what I'm trying to do on this slate.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not something that is necessary.
Tyler Hero, Jay Crowder, Duncan Robinson. Hero slightly more expensive than that group of guys, but is there a non-Bam Butler guy that stands out to you?
No, I mean Hero's expensive. Hero's the kind of guy that I'd be wanting to use if I do only roster one of LeBron or Davis and open up a little bit more salary that way. I think you want to be trying to get to like a Tyler Hero, a Rajon Rondo, like one of those guys who is clearly overpriced relative to an optimal lineup, but do actually give you some legitimate upside. Hero is basically the only guy on Miami outside of Butler that's going to create his own shot. Rondo, of course, can just pile up assists and should get some open looks. So like those guys give you that ability to go out there and get like 40 to 50 fantasy points, even though it's not going to happen often at all. They at least can do it. And so I think that if you are foregoing one of, especially LeBron and Davis, but Butler in there too, you want to be trying to get as much upside in your lineup as you can, even if it's low probability upside. And I think that Hero at 8K and Rondo at 7,200 are the two like mid-range guys from each team that give you that.
Okay. Yeah, I like Hero quite a bit on FanDuel, more so than I do on DraftKings. In particular, in the pro spot, he's not getting a lot of love there. We only have him projected for 7% ownership. I think going to Hero in the pro spot is a nice way to get a little bit of a different construction, since you're likely to have AD and LeBron in some order in the MVP and star spot. I'm going to slide over to No House Advantage right now. They are the presenting sponsor of this show. You should go to No House Advantage and make a deposit using the promo code Awesemo. Get yourself a $20 free play on that deposit. Refer a friend. If they make a deposit, you get an additional $5. Cannot beat it. Their actual main contest today already filled. You guys were too slow. Normally, get a little bit of an opportunity to scoop some overlay, but we're pushing them in the right direction. Things are looking up. Jimmy Butler prop for you. You ready? 24.5 points. What do you feel about Jimmy Butler at 24.5 points today?
24.5. That's LeBron, not Jimmy Butler. But yeah, no, I have LeBron, or I have Butler going over. I have him at about 27.5.
7.5 rebounds?
Also for Butler?
Yes.
A little bit under. I have him at 7.
Butler, Hero, Robinson, Crowder, Adebayo. Starting lineup.
Yeah, I did a double take. I'm still not like I guess we hadn't seen this lineup with Adebayo in, and so I like looked at it quickly and thought that like Hero was a new addition, but he's not.
No, I was a little I kind of wanted Hero off the bench, but doesn't matter. None will play. Hope he plays well.
Let's hit. He plays.
Huh?
I said you hope he plays.
I mean, he's gonna play, right?
I mean, he played 4 minutes in the second half last game.
Fair.
And in the first half, Hero played much less than you expect.
Yeah.
Like if Hero plays 40 and Robinson plays like 38, none really might play like 10.
Yeah. Yeah, the tricky part with Robinson is that he can play anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes tonight.
Right. I think the most likely outcome is that you get around 20 minutes for Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah.
Whether it's because something happens to where he plays around 20 minutes, but like if Hero and Robinson go completely perfectly, none get squeezed out.
Yeah. It'll be a hell of a game if Hero and Robinson are playing 38 minutes. I have to assume things are going well.
Yeah.
speaking of Tyler Hero, 17.5 points is the prop for Hero. How do you feel about that bad boy?
Exactly what I have.
So push. Got it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else you want to touch on from the Miami Heat side of this equation? Who's your favorite captain option from the Heat?
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only one that I'm getting to.
I agree. I think Jimmy Butler is the best captain option probably on the slate. So there's also that. We're also doing a bit of a giveaway, which is kind of fun. Head on over to the Awesemo_com Twitter account. I've got the tweet pulled up on the screen right now. Game 4 giveaway. All you have to do is like the tweet that's on the screen. It is pinned. Retweet the tweet. No, you don't even have to retweet it. You just have to like it. That's even better. Reply to the tweet with your answer of how many points do you think Jimmy Butler will have in game 4. You have to follow the Awesemo_com account. You have to follow the Awesemo NBA account. As long as you have your reply in by 9 p.m. tonight at lock, one random winner will win an NBA yearly pass. It's a $400 value. You can't beat it. Doesn't take much out of you guys. So head to our pinned tweet, check out the giveaway, try to win yourself an Awesemo yearly pass for the NBA. It would be good through October of next year. $400 value. Go ahead and check it out. Let's slide over to the Lakers side. We'll start at the top. The easiest way to do it. LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Who do you prefer?
LeBron, just, will have the ball in his hands more than Davis. It's basically a coin flip, but with ownership coming in pretty similarly, 66% on LeBron, 62% on Davis, 27% captain, 20% for Davis. But the salaries are about the same now, too. You don't have that gap that you had earlier on in the series. I think that they both look good. I'd give the edge to LeBron, though.
As would I. I have a bit more LeBron than I do Anthony Davis. I'm not really mad about having either one of them. You should probably have a ton of both of those guys on FanDuel. They are very clearly the best MVP spot plays and the best star plays. Shouldn't shock you guys. Just play a lot of LeBron and AD on FanDuel. There's not really a different way for you to go. Do you think Bam being in makes any changes for the Lakers side of this game?
I don't think so. Because we did see, we got a half and a rotation in game 1.
Yeah.
And the big thing that you would really be looking for here is, does Dwight Howard get a second rotation in the first half? He didn't in that game. Bam played 7 minutes and 43 seconds in the second quarter. Howard didn't come back. That would really be the one thing that I would think could change, and it didn't seem like Vogel cared.
Does that give you any interest in Dwight Howard?
I have a little bit, just because he's still 3,800.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy, though.
And I mean, there is at least, again, you kind of talk about range of outcomes, especially on showdown slates. I don't think it's likely that he plays a second rotation in the first half. I don't think it's impossible, though. Like, if you told me that instead of playing 15 minutes, Dwight plays 20, I wouldn't think that, like, something crazy happened in the game. I would just think that Vogel changed his mind.
Fair. We've got 1,500 people in here right now. Apologies to the 800 or so that were in here when audio was not its best. But now that we've got 1,500, please hit that thumbs up. Helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. I was asking if you thought if there were any changes because Bam was playing. Do you expect any changes to the Lakers rotation just in general? Danny Green has been a little labored as of late.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't call it a change. I think that Danny Green probably plays as much as he can and also kind of game dependent.
Yeah.
I don't think that they say going in necessarily like Danny Green's only going to play 60 minutes, but if his hip's still bothering him, or he's playing terribly and Caruso plays well or Rondo plays well, I think that it's still easy for him to lose minutes.
All right, let's try to hash through some of these middle tier guys from the Lakers because it gets a little murky. Rondo, KCP, Kuzma, Green, Dwight, Caruso. Do any of these guys stand out to you all the way down to someone like Markieff Morris? What do you like from the non-stars for LA tonight?
I kind of like the ownership on Danny Green.
Yeah, same.
It's very easy to see how he fails. You just look at most other games he's played in the bubble. But there is definitely some recency bias built in here. He's only $4,400. If Danny Green's playing well and he feels okay, he can very easily play 26 to 30 minutes.
Yep.
Should get some open looks, and assume like if he plays 26 to 30 minutes, he's probably knocking those shots too. So that's certainly in the range of outcomes. We just haven't seen it recently. He's coming off of a 16-minute game, so the ownership I think is lower than it would be if he was playing normal or if he was coming off of a big game. So I think that that's a spot that you can look to and just kind of hope that variance works in your favor on this particular slate. KCP kind of the same thing, except getting slightly more ownership and slightly more expensive. Caruso, $800 less on DraftKings, getting a lot more ownership. I think he's a good value, but Green just kind of stands out as a tournament play for me where I think it's a spot like Lofty and I talked about it this morning. 4 games into a final series, or 3 games going into game 4, it's really unusual to still have question marks about how much playing time guys are going to get. Normally, it's been hashed out by now, but because the Lakers can kind of play hot hand here with Green, KCP, Rondo, Caruso, and because Green's kind of been dealing with an injury, we don't really know exactly how many minutes Frank Vogel wants him to play, and so that gives you the opportunity in tournaments to just play the opposite of the field, and people seem to think that Danny Green isn't going to play a lot. So, and I have no idea how much he's going to play, so I'll roster him.
Yeah, you and me are in the same boat here. He's definitely not okay. Like something is clearly not all right in that man's hip. But I'm not a doctor, even though I did stay in a Holiday Inn Express at one point in time in my life. Best I can do. It's late. It's 8:38. My jokes are usually terrible. They're going to be a lot worse as we get closer to 9 o'clock at night. We're pretty close to my bedtime. I'm not up all that late. I think the sneakiest guy is Rondo. He's one of the few guys that are actually getting no ownership because his price is preposterous. I don't think that should be all that much of a concern. So I actually have like 25% Rondo right now. We have him projected for 7.5. There are such few places where you can go and get an actual ownership discount. And I actually think that he should be owned more than that. So I'm pretty happy getting to 25% Rondo. It's not a particularly high likelihood outcome, but if he's that low owned, I think that's pretty beneficial to try to win a tournament because that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mentioned when we were talking about Hero, and it works out that I'm getting a lot more Hero than Rondo, and I think that's because of minutes. But Hero's higher owned, but he's still only 20%. So it's relatively low for a showdown slate.
I have a lot of Hero as well.
Yeah, I think either one of those guys, it's just such a suboptimal play as far as like an optimal lineup build goes. They are like the two guys in the mid range that actually can just go out there and it's just like, oh, this was a Tyler Hero game, or oh, this was a Rajon Rondo game. Like you're never going to say that about Duncan Robinson or Jake Crowder or these other guys. Like these are the two, really the only two non-star players in this series, counting Bam as a star, that can take over a game.
Yeah, like Rondo is live. It's not; these aren't high likelihood scenarios, but he's live for like 10, 10, 10, and 5 steals. Like that is
right.
That is that's some Rondo type shit right there. That would be really great if he did that. Although at that point in time, I would probably need him in the captain spot. At which point I don't have him. So be good, Rondo, but don't be so good that you end up in a different spot because that won't be as fun. Is there anything else you want to touch on? From like the slate in general. Anything that's standing out to you from your crunches? Any J.R. Smith? We're getting that question.
3%. Keefe, I guess, needs to be mentioned just because he's still so cheap and he's coming off that 25-minute game.
Yeah,
you're obviously not expecting 25 minutes again because Anthony Davis dealt with foul trouble throughout that game and it benefited Keefe. But if you are assuming that he plays another 17 to 18 minutes at $2,800, he's still a perfectly fine value because once again, DraftKings just did not move his price whatsoever.
Better sleep at the wheel, man.
Yeah, like this it should be such a fun series, like strategy wise, to make these lineups, but the pricing is just broken, so it takes a lot of the fun out of it, I think, because you're basically forced to either like do stuff that is very, very clearly suboptimal to get low owned plays, or you're just going to be chopping.
All right, give me your 2 favorite plays and your favorite fade or guy that you're at least coming in pretty significantly under on.
Favorite plays, I mean, Braun and Jimmy Butler. I mean, I'll say Bam because I'm getting a ton of Bam.
Okay.
And I think it's, again, just like we talked about at the beginning, he's one of the only guys that can go out there and give me a monster game at relatively low ownership given his skill set. Jimmy Butler also just because his salary hasn't moved. So it's Bam and Butler. As far as fade goes, actually not getting as much Davis as I expected. Pretty heavily underweight on Davis.
Same.
I think just because of where his price falls in relative to LeBron, Butler, and Bam.
I am also relatively limited on Anthony Davis. That feels fantastic coming off a rough AD game. The narrative heading into game 4 for me personally is a really uncomfortable feel. So when AD smashes and Jimmy Butler has a bad day, it's going to sting. It's going to sting. Anything else you want to touch on for this slate? Or I think it's time to start taking some questions from across the board here.
Yeah, I think we take questions.
All right. Premium Slack, get your questions in. YouTube chat, get your questions in, but only if you hit that thumbs up and take us north of 400 likes. And if you can get to 500, I'll even ask or answer more of your questions. I won't answer them past 9 o'clock because that won't get us anywhere, but I'll look at them with some more detail. We did just get a super chat from Dowens89. Is anyone outside of the top 4 viable at captain? So, yes, but they all look the same basically, and really, it's top 3. I don't think that Bam is viable at captain.
I have him like 10% on DraftKings right now.
Interesting. Okay, you think he's more viable than I do then?
It's just, I mean, he's 4% owned.
Yeah. To me, everybody that isn't one of those main guys are all like 2 to 4% type dudes. So
right, that's what I was gonna say. The next highest guy, so Bam is 10% for me. The next highest are Tyler Hero at 4, Kendrick Nunn at 4, but that's going to go down because I decided I needed to cut a couple minutes off of him. Duncan Robinson at 3, Caruso at 1.
Yep.
Like, it's just stuff like that.
Yep. If I had to pick one individual guy that's not from that main tier, give me Rondo. 0.4% ownership in the captain spot. I'll take my chances. It won't be fun, but you'll probably be winning some money if it works. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. Where did that question go? Saw a good one. Taco or quesadilla tonight? I ate quesadillas for lunch, so quesadillas again, I guess. How many uniques is good for a showdown slate? I always use 1 just because that's what I do, and because of the way that I run my crunches and have my ownership cap set, I'm going to get a mix of everything one way or the other. Do you have any other thoughts?
Randomness and uniques are basically heavily dependent on what else you're doing.
Yeah.
For showdown, though, I use 1 just because you also kind of want to think through what are you want to think through what it does. I mean, if you're using more than 1 unique on a slate where there's only like 12 players, 16 players, whatever to choose from, you're getting pretty far off your optimal pretty quickly.
It's Braun's son's birthday today, so Braun might go off. Of all the narratives in the world, that is the one that I definitely don't care about at all. Good God. I have $9,500 left on FanDuel. Who do you go with? $9,500 Rondo, and then we've got Crowder, KCP, and Danny Green all at 9K. I think my answer is Crowder.
Rondo for me.
It might be Crowder.
I think it's Rondo.
Actually, it's 100% Rondo. I didn't realize that Jay Crowder had 3 times the ownership, so now it's 100% Rondo. Another super chat from Shaolin Verse. Kuzma or Caruso? No site given, so DraftKings is the assumption.
Caruso's the better value. Kuzma's getting half the ownership.
Yeah.
So if like if the salary doesn't matter and you just have that extra $1,000, I would just go ahead and play Caruso and half the ownership.
Des Thomas, thanks for the super chat. You retracted your message, so there's nothing I could even do. Do you feel like Butler is too highly owned considering his usage goes down when Bam is playing? Maybe I'm delusional.
No, I think he's mispriced.
Yeah. Bam's ownership is fully dependent on the fact that he is $9,600, which is incorrect. So no, I don't. Bam in, Bam out. I was going to be playing a ton of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me now. I know I looked it up on the show with Loffy this morning. With Dragic off and Bam on, Butler's averaged 1.29 DraftKings points per minute. No, sorry. With Dragic and Bam both off, Butler's averaged 1.29 DraftKings points per minute. If you put Bam on, it drops to 1.2. But the thing is that you're still expecting 42, 43, 44 minutes from Butler. He's just clearly underpriced.
See what else we have. Would you play Bam and Olynyk?
You can, because Olynyk's still so cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those where it's not ideal, but it's a 1-game slate, and so like if you're playing a bunch of lineups, you're just going to have some of it together.
Yeah.
If I were playing one lineup and trying to come up with something that makes sense, like I probably wouldn't play them together.
Yeah, I don't pay too close attention to any sort of stuff like that for a showdown slate unless the prices are higher. Like, you don't need a ton out of Kelly Olynyk at 3,200. That could just be like a hot shooting 12-minute rotation, and he's totally fine, and it has no bearing on Bam. It's not like the regular season where, if you've got Jokic and Plumlee and it's 38 minutes to 10 minutes, like one hurts the other. They're not priced with the same sort of gap where it's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think the things that really mattered to me were the pricing. Like if Olynyk had gotten a price bump because of Bam being out, and then suddenly you're paying like $16K combined for Bam and Olynyk, then yeah, it's a problem. But also, kind of as I mentioned, the number of lineups. Like if I'm playing 150 lineups, I don't want to restrict myself to just playing no Bam and Olynyk because of what you said. Like that can still happen. If I'm playing one lineup or two lineups, I can just play like Markieff Morris or something, and give myself an extra path to a ceiling game. Anthony Davis gets in foul trouble, Keith plays more minutes. Whereas the true ceiling for Olynyk is that Bam doesn't play his full run.
Right. When I ran my sims earlier today, on average, Kelly Olynyk had 17.3 fantasy points in the utility spot. So that's what you're looking for out of Olynyk. And then you need, whatever sort of 40-something from Bam. See what else we have here. I appreciate you guys hitting that like button. We got north of 400. We're at 410. Don't be afraid to keep hitting said like button. Elusive Smoke. On a night like tonight, what total lineup ownership are you targeting? How should we view ownership in general? I don't pay attention to total ownership.
Yeah, neither do I. So I don't even have like a number that I could give you because I don't look at it.
I have no idea what it'd even be.
Yeah, I mean, and to clarify that, like obviously I pay attention to ownership,
Right.
but I pay attention to my lineups relative to each other. So I'm not targeting any particular number.
Yeah, it's the sum of ownership is not something that I pay very close attention to. Chance of LeBron fully shutting down Jimmy Butler, low. Ownership on Showdown is not a good metric. Gonna go ahead and disagree there. Pretty aggressively too.
Yeah.
The most important piece of information that I think that we have for every single sport. Kelly or Iggy? I think that's a decent question.
I'm pulling ownership back.
It's Iguodala for me, but man, I don't like Kelly. Either side of it. Even though I have a lot of Iguodala.
I think I would go Kelly, but
I'm intrigued to see if Iguodala's minutes rebound up into like the mid to high 20s, even like approaching 30. Like, could he be the guy that soaks up additional minutes now that Bam is back if they want to go to a more switchable 5? I don't know. We'll see it. Do you trust Robinson at all tonight? I mean, I don't
trust Robinson ever any night.
No. I am playing him more so than the field today. But he's a crapshoot. He's just as likely to hit 3 threes in the first minute as he is to have 3 fouls. So that's rarely fun. Let's see what else we've got here.
Yeah, our ownership is so low on none that even though I cut his rates, I'm still getting a ton.
Yeah, trust me, I know the feeling. I did manually adjust him to not be in all 150 of my lineups, though. That felt excessive.
Yeah, I mean, I like my initial projection was like 19 or 20 minutes at the same range Alex is in.
Yeah.
I cut him to like 15 and a half, or sorry, not minutes, points. Cut him to 15 and a half points, re-ran a crunch, still getting him in half my lineups just because ownership projection is so low.
Yep. That is what's happening for me. So hope it works out. I went with the 80-20 principle. Instead of having 100, I'll take off 20. Best I could do. Should I play Braun, Davis, and Butler on FanDuel? Do you feel like you should have all 3 of them in a lineup tonight? So, I mean, that trio being in the MVP, star, and pro spot is the most likely scenario. However, that is also opening you up to a very, very tight bottom of your lineup. So the more likely scenario is probably 2 of 3 if you want to win anything significant. But, I mean, they're the 3 best plays on FanDuel by far because there aren't any. Your salary's the same no matter what. FanDuel makes it hard. Let's see what else we've got. Do we have anything in premium Slack? Yeah, we should find out where Rinpack is going to win 100K again today. You know, he called a shot on the last one.
Did he?
So, game 2, he wins 100K on FanDuel. So, game 3, we have the show. I was like, hey, man, like, call your shot. Where are you going to win tonight? And he was like, well, I guess since I won on FanDuel the last time, I'll win on DraftKings. He chopped the prize pool on DraftKings then, too.
I didn't realize he had won that night, too.
Yeah. I mean, like, it wasn't remotely close to the same sort of payout for him.
Oh, okay.
But because the first one was because of none, so there wasn't a lot of chopping going on, or any, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, for game 3, called his DraftKings shot. So I'm going to win on, trying to think of a real red draft day. I'm going to bank Draft Street tonight. That'll be hopefully I can bank on Draft Street tonight. Or I could just bank on No House Advantage, the presenting sponsor of this show. Go play at No House Advantage. Use the promo code Awesemo. Anybody you're not getting to that you thought you would? Or vice versa, that you are getting to that you didn't think you would?
I didn't think I'd get as much none as I am. I guess as far as not getting to Davis, just I assumed I would be getting more.
Yeah, I have a feeling that one's going to sting within like 5 or 10 minutes. By the time I get downstairs.
It's nothing to do with Davis. It's just that I don't think he should be as highly owned as LeBron.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it has nothing to do with how his last game went. Right. But I hate when, I think you were kind of alluding to it earlier, I hate when I'm in the situation where I'm naturally doing what recency bias would have you do.
Yes.
Even though it's not, it's for totally different reasons.
Yep, it's miserable. It truly is. LeBron showed up in my sim, either captain or utility, 82.5% of the time, AD 69.2. So, I naturally do get to more LeBron. It's not comfortable given the way that game played out. 5 minutes to go until lock. YouTube or premium Slack just not really sending in any questions, so that's fine. I talked to those guys enough. Shalin Verse again with the super chat. Thank you. Any Crowder in the pro spot on FanDuel? So Crowder showed up in the pro spot in my sim 6% of the time. We have him projected for 9% ownership. That would not be a direction I would be going all that much for Crowder. I would be more likely to get him just in the utility spot. But I'm assuming you don't really have much of a take on that. That's you kind of get in the weeds without, you got to run crunches to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like Caruso and Kuzma, though, at the utility spot, more so than the current ownership we have. Lightning Nissan says, Haslam dropping 50 points today. A dude's going to play at some point in time. I'm pretty confident of that. Can you imagine if he played and mattered?
I mean, I tried to get that last game, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. Do you think Bam has limited minutes?
No.
Essentially, no. I don't think that he hits his normal ceiling, but I think that he's every attempt to play north of 30 for sure. Don't know if he can get there or not, but my expectation.
Yeah, that like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I think that going in, he's going to play as much as he can. It's just a matter of how much pain is he in.
Right. Let's see. Couple people saying fade Braun. Best of luck to that one. Let's see.
Yeah.
Would you play Rondo and Caruso in the same lineup? Yes.
It's basically the same answer as Olynyk and Bam.
Yeah. I would. No real issue other than the fact that Rondo is just little expensive. Let's see.
I think if you were going to make a group there, it would be max 2 of either max 2 or max 3, but probably max 2 of like Rondo, Caruso, Green, and KCP.
Yeah. Thoughts on J.R. Smith? Yeah, I don't have any. I'll drink some Henny for him, but that's the best I can do. Deep Patel wants us to know Solomon Hill is fire. No. Not quite.
I mean, I'd be about even with the field on DraftKings. He's 10.7%. I have 11.
Ooh, that feels like a lot of Solomon Hill.
Fortunately, I'm not max entering, so I actually have 0.
Good.
I do have 3 out of 3 Kendrick Nunn though, which I'm not happy about.
Riding my coattails. I like it. What else is new?
3 out of 3 Bam. That should be a good time.
That's a little scary. Howard at captain is the sneaky move tonight. I don't think so. That one would be a tough sell for me. Let's see. What did he do when he showed up in the captain spot? When he showed up in the captain, he would have scored 23.7 normal points. So in the captain spot, we're talking 35. I guess it's feasible. But I'm also not playing a single share of Dwight Howard in the captain spot. So
yeah, out of 150 on DraftKings, I would have 1%.
Yeah, that's about right. 8:59. Guys, if you don't have your lineups in, I don't know what you're waiting for. You have 10 seconds. Hit the like button on your way out the door because this show is over. Thank you to No House Advantage for being the presenting sponsor of the show. Once again, use that promo code Awesemo. Get yourself a $20 free play on your first deposit and a $5 bonus if you refer a friend and they make a deposit. Please hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We have another day of content coming up tomorrow. Game 5 is Friday, not Thursday. So be ready for a Friday show. I'll be on Live Before Lock, baseball edition tomorrow afternoon. We'll have PGA Live Before Lock tomorrow. An MMA show, I'm guessing, exists tomorrow. Fun card this Saturday in MMA. Marlon Moraes, Corey Sandhagen. That should be a fun fight. So I'm pumped for that. Adam, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I think that about sums it up.
That'll do it, guys. Best of luck tonight, everybody. We'll talk to you again. Game 5 on Friday.